Well, hey folks, this is Jennifer Latsky, editor of Kansas Farmer Magazine, and Wheat Tour 24 is in the books. I'm here with Vice President of Operations and Research with Kansas Wheat, Harries. All right, Aaron, everybody's dying to know, what were the final numbers?
290.4 million bushels, so it's a bigger crop than 2023 by a long shot, but still a little bit below average. Our tour 3-day average yield per bushels per acre was 46 and a half. So we'll see if that gets realized or not. USDA's number was, a little bit lower than that. So it's just an educated guess by a group. Our number came in a little bit higher than the USDA's 267 million bushels, but they collect our data a little bit earlier than we do, and there's been some rainfall in certain parts of the state between now and then. So I feel pretty good about that number.
Okay.
On my particular route, I went through central Kansas on day one, so through the heart of the drought affected area, meaning, Abilene, but once we got to Gypsum, south of Salina, through Lindsborg, west towards Great Bend, that's really a pretty rough area. A lot of Schwartz wheat. Around Lorain, Kansas, they haven't had a total half-inch of rain in the last 100 days. But the amazing thing is there's still wheat there to be harvested. And I think what that points to is the fact that the wheat crop this year got a good start in the fall, unlike previous years where some of the wheat didn't even emerge in the fall. So it started with a fairly good life, and it's just gone downhill from there. My route on day two took me again through extreme western Kansas and the southern tier of the state, and I didn't see much good wheat on that route either. A lot of shorter, thinner wheat. Again, wheat that will be harvested. I think not terrible above average amount of abandoned acres. So, there were reports of good wheat obviously on the tour. I think that's kind of limited to north of Highway 24 in northern Kansas and in northwest Kansas. And, there's some good wheat in central Kansas obviously. And as we record this, they just got some rain again overnight. So we always say, the next 2 weeks are going to make a big difference. A lot of things can happen, but there was rust out there, and I think the big question on the tour is how many guys sprayed fungicides. It might be too late in a lot of cases because of the label restrictions. The economics, does it pay to do that this year? But there's a little bit of optimism in that there's rust, because that means there was at least some moisture. And then last year in the heart of the drought, we didn't even see disease. We didn't see insects because it was so dry. So those are maybe good problems to have. I think Colorado's going to have, about the same size of crop that they did last year. Again, it's kind of two extremes there. Northeast Colorado has gotten some more rain. Southeast Colorado pretty bad into the Oklahoma panhandle. So Oklahoma, tale of two crops too. The southeast half of the state getting some rain. The west, a little tougher there. Nebraska kind of holding their own. I think their crop prediction number was just about identical to what it was last year. So, it's been a little backwards this year. There's been rain down in Texas and Oklahoma, and that's kind of that panhandle region into Kansas that's been kind of the heart of the drought. So maybe we're closing in on ending that. I'd like to think so, but we're getting back to more average in Kansas with this wheat harvest, average being a little bit of everything. Bringing people from all around the country and all around the world to actually be on the ground in the wheat fields gives them a much clearer understanding of what farmers go through. And instead of just observing from maybe an office in Chicago or Washington, D.C. and trying to guess what's going on, they really do get a better feel for the challenges that farmers face. It brings a lot of good attention to the wheat industry for a few days, and it's a real educational opportunity. But you've got people from USDA and Washington, D.C. This is their only chance to get out in the wheat field. These are the agriculture people doing this kind of research. So the knowledge they go back with ultimately is going to benefit farmers, because we're all doing a better job the more we know about the topic we're trying to cover. So there are some negatives that go along with the wheat tour. I know everybody, there's negatives with everything, but I think generally overall it's really a positive situation, because people can empathize with farmers, what they're going through, and learn from the experts about what's been going on in this ongoing drought in the central United States. So I think it really is a positive.
Great. Well, thank you so very much for helping along with the wheat tour. You've done a lot of work for 3-4 days of a lot of activity. And folks, remember, wheat harvest is just around the corner, so you're going to want to be sure to follow along at kansasfarmer.com. And if you've got crop updates that you want to send my direction, you can email those to me at jennifer.latsky@farmprogress.com. Aaron, thanks again. It's always a pleasure, and we will see you on the road, okay?
Will do.